Hello everyone, it's Darlene from Scrappin', Stampin' and Inkin' by Dardee. And today I'm going to take you for a walkthrough of my very small mini album which I created to fit into a Graphic 45 book box. The album was created with the designer series paper called Vintage Rose Garden by Couture Creations. And what I used was this 6x6 pad, and it did have 48 sheets in it, and they were double-sided, so that was quite a lot of paper compared to the original 6x6 pads, which have like 24. And I must say I love Dusty Rose and Shades of Green together, so this here was just ideal. I had a really fantastic time making this. This is really the second time that I've made a very small album like this. I had made a small album in another Graphic 45 book box for someone that wanted a Hanukkah keepsake box and a booklet. So it was sort of similar to that. Well, let's get started. The book box, they say, measures 6 1/4 by 4 1/4, or I might be wrong, 6 3/4 by 4 3/4. In decorating the box, I just chose different shades of cardstock that I thought went very well with the paper collection. And as you noticed, I have double, triple, quadruple matted my box here, which I like to do. I did do all 4 of the outer sides, and I chose to put a sheet of the designer paper on the bottom. The inside of the box, I only did the inside top cover and this one spine here. The other 3 were already covered from the outside of the box, but I was afraid to put anything here because I thought it would add too much and I wouldn't be able to get it shut. I did add the ribbon to be able to pull the album out of the box. As you can see, I did not decorate the inside of the box. To decorate the box, it's very simple and anyone can do that. After I was finished putting the paper on and the designer paper, I just decorated the top like I would if it were the front of an album. Okay, let's get started with the album itself. I did put some seam binding to be able to pull it out of the box. And the album measures 6 1/4 by 4 1/4, and it has a 2 1/4 inch spine. And I made the outside of the album, the front, back, and the spine just like you would any other album. There are 5 section of pages in here, which would be considered this. It has 6 pages to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but it's really just one page on the spine here. And let's see, I have 6 in here. So that's really 30 pages plus the page on the front and back inside covers. The pages measure 5 1/2 by 4. And what I've done on here, I've gone and double matted it. So I go down 1/4 of an inch each time. So when I made this, my page front here was 5.5 by 4, and then the dark green here would be 5 1/4 by 3 3/4, and then the designer paper was 5 by 3.5. After I go through this with you, I did mention to a couple of my Facebook fans that I would try to do a tutorial, and I will show you how I cut the pages and all that. But at the end of this tutorial or this video, I will put a website of which I found today on the YouTube channel, where Ginger of My Sister Scrapper did a booklet like this. And she's fabulous with her demonstrations and her videos and all her albums and things. I feel very fortunate that I found that, because I am still a little bit nervous to do the videos, but or the tutorials, I'm sorry. But I will go through this, and like I said, I will leave her Facebook, her YouTube channel site below so that you can look that up. By watching hers, the only difference between the two really is I added side pockets to mine, which that was just something that I wanted to do there, and chose to go ahead and put it on the front and back cover, and then on several of the 6 pages. And you'll see that as we go through. And each of the 5 sections of 6 pages, I know that sounds confusing. I did use a 5/8 of an inch gusset. In doing this, there is a spot where you can have a pull-out. So each of my 5 pages do have a pull-out. And like I said, I used that one paper pack, so I am going to try it with a regular 6x6 paper pack and see how that will work. I know I'm going to have to use a couple other full sheets, but this was to me like this most simplest album I've ever made, because of just having, I tried to get the green and the pink and the flowers, and there were really no cutouts or photo mats, so I had to use the paper. And the size of the mats here for the small ones are 2 3/4 by 3 3/4, and then the paper, designer paper on top of it, was 2.5 by 3.5. And the larger ones that I have in the pullouts are 3 3/4 by 5, and the designer paper again would be 1/4 of an inch smaller, and it would be 3.5 by 4 3/4. But I'll just slowly show these. I mean, I've had quite a few pictures on Facebook for this, and you can see at between the first page and the second page of 6, I did put the bottom pocket. I really do like that, and I did use a Martha Stewart punch there, and I used it on the bottom pockets also, and I will show you, but I really want you to watch that one from Ginger of My Sister Scrapper. And I did put a couple belly bands throughout this. But it was a joy to work with these colors, because these are my colors. And it made, I thought, a very nice little album and a wonderful little gift. So I'm going to quickly show you what I did. The pages in this very small mini album are 5.5 by 4. So the size of the paper that I need is 8 by 11. I chose to use a 12 by 12, so I'm going to cut that down to 8 by 11, but you can use an 8.5 by 11. So I'm going to cut this down to 11. By 8. We're going to save this because we're going to make our pocket from that. Next, what we have to do is along the 8-inch side, we're going to score at the 4-inch mark the whole way down. We're going to turn our paper so that the 11 inches is at the top, and we're going to score at 5.5. Then we're going to score, fold and score our paper. I'm using a very heavy cardstock here. Okay, so what we need to do with this is on the 11-inch side, that 5-inch score mark that we put in there, we need to go and cut that. I cannot cut a straight line with scissors, so I'm going to put it in my cutter, and I'm going to line that up with the 5-inch score mark, and I'm going to cut that down to and not over the 4-inch mark, right, the 4-inch score mark. So when that is done, this is what we'll have. Okay, so now we're going to go and fold that back up and rescore our marks. Not rescore, we're going to burnish our score marks again. Okay. Now what we'll have when you open this up are two flaps on the left-hand side, and the one that's folded at the top, attached there, folded over, and open along the side is going to be the page where we have the pull-out. In order to make the pull-out, we have to make a pocket for down here. So with the piece that we have left over from the 12 by 12, we need a piece that is 5 by 4. And the piece that we have left over is a 4 by 12. Now what we're going to do is along the 5-inch side, we're going to score a 1/2 inch on each side. We're going to turn it around so that the 4-inch is along the top, and we are going to go and score at 2. Now we're going to fold and burnish that and attach our score tape. We're going to cut out our V's or triangles at the score line, not going over the score line. And refold our score marks. We're going to take our page now, the 2 open flaps to the left, the one that's attached at the top and open at the right-hand side. We're going to go and lay down next to that bottom score line on our pocket, not crossing over the score mark that we have on the page, and we're going to remove our score tape and attach our pocket. And then we're going to go and burnish that. We're going to turn it over on the side, and we're going to remove that score tape when it wants to come off here. Okay. You can also use your wet glue for that. This is what I do, the wet glue. And then we're going to fold that up and attach it. Burnish. And when you look at this, you're going to take one flap and fold it towards the front, and the other flap fold it towards the back. So that now we have our page. And we have 6 pages. We have 1, 2, a page with a pocket, a page where we will have a pull-out. On the back of that page is a page with a pocket, another page, and another page. So we have 6 pages here. Now with the leftovers that you have from where you cut your bottom pocket off, we need to cut our pull-outs, and they measure 5 . They measure 4 by 3, and they measure 4 3/4. I'm sorry, 4 3/4 by 3.5. So we have this page that we have left over, this piece that we have left over, and we're going to cut that to 3 3/4 by 5. And that will be our pull-out. And if you want to do what I did, you'll have paper left over where you can go ahead and make, I made mine 2 by 6. I believe it was 6. 2 by 5.5 maybe. 2 by 5.5. And made my side pockets. And I put one on the front, and then I put one on the back. So I had 2 side pockets, 2 bottom pockets, and 2 plain. And what made it easy for me was that my pull-outs were already done. As far as the pages, our pages are, like I said, 5.5 by 4, and we know that we have 6 of those. I would go ahead and, being that if I didn't double map mine, your designer paper would be, if you had the 1/4 of an inch, the 1/8 of an inch border around, and you would cut it at a 1/4 of an inch off, you would have it at 5 1/4 by 3 3/4. That I used as my mat, and my designer paper then was 5 by 3 1/2. So that's how I made my pages, and I had everything cut out so that when it came time to go ahead and glue on my pages, I went right ahead and was able to do that. And with the size here then, I just left my all the same size and was able just to feed it down to the bottom there, and also for my paper here. If you ended up wanting to cut it off, you could, and then just save it and put it down here. But I would do that at 1.5 inches. And that would give you enough to go ahead and feed that through. So with everything cut out at one time, and the pages were already ready to have everything glued down to them, and your book and your what do I want to call it? Your spine there, your hidden hinge was ready. Your book went together fairly quickly. I also wanted to tell you that I am going to put that website from YouTube down for Ginger, for my sister Scrapper, for her tutorial on this booklet. I'm sure after watching hers, you'll be able to do it. You'll have to forgive me. I was kind of nervous doing this and that, but I hope you were able to understand. I just absolutely love scrapbooking, and I love doing my mini albums. The more I guess I get onto this, the easier it will be. But at this time, I want to go ahead and thank you for letting me share with you my very small mini album and the Graphic 45 book box that I made as a keepsake box, and what little help I may be able to have given you for the pages in this mini album. Again, I want to thank you. If you have any questions, please leave them below, and I will leave the measurements that I used, and I also will leave Ginger's YouTube channel there for you to please watch that so that you will get everything correct. Thank you for giving me this time and sharing this with me. Good night.